Yo, Tara, what up, E?
What's going on? Man, those are some nice medals.
Yeah, man, these are hard to come by.
Yeah, well, I've got 2 of them.
Well, that's nothing like going to March Madness, though.
We did go to a national championship.
Okay, guys, whatever. Let's just get on the Montana party bus and head over to Press Box for lunch.
Yeah.
Nuanez Now and Skyline Sports, covering Montana athletics and the Big Sky Conference better than anybody. The Montana Party Bus and the Press Box are also proud supporters of Montana athletes.
Hey, cheers to you guys, man. Cheers to Montana. Cheers to chasing more championships.
Here, everybody. We've got Coach Kennedy here, and we're going to introduce our new defensive coordinator, Eric Sanders. And we'll start with some opening thoughts from you, Coach Kennedy, and then we'll knock it over to questions from the audience, and then we'll bring up Coach Sanders and get a Q&A going there too. But Coach Kennedy, first of all, your thoughts on bringing in Coach Sanders to lead the defense for the Grizzlies?
Yeah, very excited. I worked with him before at Stanford, and I saw his energy, his passion, and he made our players better when he was coaching the linebackers at Stanford. I mean, I think of Ricky Maison and Jacob Mangum-Farrar, Curtis Robinson. I saw the way that he coached and had those guys fly around. And so that was my first experience with him. And like I've mentioned many times before, you know, I kind of keep a journal of over the last 20 years of things I liked, didn't like, different coaches, things that I could look back on and say, yeah, this is, you know, if I ever get my shot, this is what I want to do. And Eric was definitely one of those guys.
Awesome. And we'll just open it up to questions.
Yeah, can I? Well, let me make this first. This statement first. Couple things. Spring practice, right? We've had 2 practices thus far. I've really enjoyed the way the guys have responded. They are flying around. They're playing fast, being technique driven, and they're really trying to do the little things we're asking them to do, from drills to 7-on-7 to team periods. Really excited about the way that they're playing, and I see some really good things in terms of just the finish and the attitude and the effort. So I'm really excited about this group. Obviously, we have our 3rd day tomorrow. Then we'll take a little time on the weekend and then start back up again on Monday. But really excited about what the players are doing and how they're approaching the spring ball. The other thing that I wanted to say, just talking about not only Eric, but our entire defensive staff. So when I found out there were going to be these openings, I talked to 2 guys, okay? And I had 2 guys in mind. I said to myself, okay, I want to hire one of these 2 guys. And through conversations with both, I felt really good about my conversation with Eric, his vision, how he wanted to coach. But like I said, I've seen him coach on the field. I also think that we needed to, there's a number of older coaches, right, on our staff. I wanted to bring in some youth also and some guys that had great passion for not only coaching their position, but also the team as a whole. I wanted guys that were going to be good mentors for our players. And when it came down to it, Eric checked every box. And like I said, when we were at Stanford, he was a guy that high energy. I saw the way his players competed, the way they were physical and paid attention to detail. And that was something I wanted here. That when I hired a defensive coordinator, I said, okay, not only does he have experience, he brings great passion, his attention to detail, his just enthusiasm every day for coming in the office. So that was a key reason. And then the other thing, I'll say, you know, we had a defensive line opening, and then also a secondary position because Kim McLeod's going to stay at corners. But when I had the chance to hire Jalen Johnson and Wes Nurse, I thought that was a great addition to our staff, great additions to our staff, because what I wanted Eric to do and come in and implement his defense, a defense that gave us problems and other teams in our conference problems all year. What I wanted him to be able to do was coach the players, coach the technique, coach the scheme, and not have to coach the coaches. So when he was able to hire Jalen and Wes, I thought it was a home run. I thought it was a great move by him. Obviously, he felt these guys were really good coaches, and they can come in and teach their individual positions. They don't have to jumble through all the different terminology and, okay, how do you want this technique taught? And so for him to be able to bring those guys with him, I think it's not only a great credit to Montana, because there were guys that wanted to be at Montana, all three of them, but they also have a wealth of experience. I said Eric's going to coordinate our defense. Jalen Johnson's going to be our run game coordinator on defense and coach the defensive line. Wes is going to be our safeties coach, but also is going to head up our recruiting, which I think is very valuable. I mean, he has a wealth of knowledge in this state, but also the Northwest, and then around different parts of the country. So we're going to lean on him heavily in recruiting. Kim McLeod's going to continue to be our corners coach. I think Kim has done a fabulous job here. And then another thing that I wanted to do, because I think he's a really valuable guy around here, is Kent Barrett's going to come back as our senior defensive assistant. And I'm excited about that, because when you're talking about defenses, there's more than one way to do things, right? And Kent has a wealth of experience, but also I want him to be a guy that Eric or the other coaches bounce ideas off of, after him being the coordinator not only here at Montana, but Notre Dame, Stanford, San Jose. I mean, it seems like he's that old song, I've been everywhere, man. And I'm excited about him coming back. And the other thing I'll say about Eric that I'm really, really thankful for, he's had other opportunities. He's coached with the Raiders, with the Browns, with the Jets, okay, at UC Davis, coordinated at Eastern Washington. He's had chances to go other places and other FBS places after we left Stanford, okay? But he wanted to coordinate and take his shot at making this next step in his career. So really excited about our entire defensive staff, excited about the way things are coming together here, and I'm very pleased thus far. Thanks, Dave.
Yes, sir. Just pass it around for questions.
Well, you mentioned going against Eastern Washington's defense last year and that giving you guys some trouble. What sort of things did they do that gave you some trouble? How do you sort of translate that now to the Griz?
Yeah, their variety. I mean, being able to go between 3 down, 4 down, their corner blitz. I mean, their blitz package was phenomenal. You talk to Brent Myers, our offensive line coach, he will tell you that they were one of the toughest defenses to prepare for in our league last year. And so when I had a mind, like I said, I had 2 guys in mind, but then when you talk to other people around the league, okay, and a guy that I trust in Brent Myers, or he won't be here, right? I'm like, okay. And then also Brent Pease was very complimentary of Eric and what they did. And I believe this, the jump that they made from his first year to his second year, I looked at the guys he had playing for him up front and the way their linebackers and their pursuit and their tenaciousness, I thought he'd be a great fit here, and that's why I brought him here.
At Holloway and Hulling, we deliver the results that Griz fans deserve. If you've been charged with a criminal offense or a DUI, we will fight to defend your rights.
If you've been injured in an accident, we have the offense to get you the compensation you deserve.
Choose the right team. Choose Holloway and Hulling for proven criminal defense and personal injury legal services, a proud partner of Grizzly Athletics. Visit us soon at our new downtown location or check out our website for more information.
Cash One Pawn, Missoula's #1 pawn shop.
Well, you want money, we got money. You need money, we got money. We're cash.
Do yourself a favor and make Cash One Pawn part of your online shopping habits. Cash One Pawn has an awesome online inventory, everything from firearms to power tools to speaker equipment to jewelry. Visit Cash One Pawn today.
Cash One Pawn.
8720 Roller Coaster Road, CashOnePawn.com.
When it comes to this transitioning from a defense that's a little bit unorthodox to the now one that's just a new scheme for most of the guys in the program, what are the challenges like of that from a personnel standpoint?
Well, yeah, the challenges have been that, they've got to learn a new scheme, but this is good for players, okay? It's good that they have to reinvest and that they don't think that they've got it all figured out, right? Football is a process that you have to be continually growing, okay? And I mean, from Solo to Peyton, Tanner, like those guys, like they have been excited and they have been into this process. And yeah, maybe we're buzzing around on the 3-5-3, and there's going to be aspects that we use 3 down. Okay, it doesn't mean we can't do some of those things, but also like learning how to fit the gaps and those different things. I think it's a great challenge for our guys, and I think they're excited about learning something new.
From your seat as the head coach, what's it like evaluating a defense since you've been so offensive heavy throughout your career? Like, what's that process going to be like for you to sort of evaluate the personnel?
Well, first of all, I've got to be nonpartisan, right? Because I don't want our players to look at me as an offensive guy or a defensive guy. I want them to look at me as a head coach. And, you know, in practice, there's great things that happen every day. Offense creates an explosive. Defense might pick it off or recover a fumble, punch it out. But the way that I look at defense is who provides difficulties for the offense, and how do you take advantage of their schemes, and how are you going to attack them? And like I said, with Eric's background, not only being in the NFL, but also as a college coach, okay, I think he's learned under the right people, and he can adapt to fit our personnel and give other people problems.
Talk a little about bringing in the recruiting coordinator. I know you've talked in the past a lot about prioritizing the state of Montana, but just when you go out recruiting, what are the specifics that you're looking for in the types of players you want to bring in?
Yeah, well, number one, we want guys to be tough, physical, right, strong, be able to run. I mean, there's intangibles. It's like, for example, when I used to talk about wide receivers, I had criteria, right? I wanted them to be a natural ball catcher. Okay, I wanted them to be able to make, catches when they're covered in tight spaces. Okay, and then also I wanted, what do we do when you get the ball in their hands? Are they able to make people miss? Are they able to create those explosives? So the same thing that maybe I had at wide receiver, I know Wes is going to have, at safeties. Eric's going to have at linebackers. Jalen's going to have at defensive line. We all look for different things, but toughness and does that guy love football? And when you watch him on tape, does that come through? Okay? There's no doubt we are going to make Montana a priority and Montana kids. We also know that we have to go out other areas. Jalen's excellent in the Inland Empire. We're going to expand in that area. Brent Myers, right? He's very good and is well known in Salt Lake, okay, and in Utah, okay. Wes has been Washington, parts of California. So we're kind of keeping not necessarily just a regional approach, because we're still going to go to Texas and recruit. We're still going to, find guys from all over. Colorado should be another big area for us. So we're going to get out and we're going to scour. I'll say scour the country, but we also have to be specific in what we're looking for and what we want to get accomplished.
And two, you mentioned at the previous one, just you wanted this to be a player-driven program.
Absolutely.
I was wondering if you could just expand on what you mean by that, how you've seen that start to develop so far, and just how, with so many new assistants, they've bought into that too, or maybe it was different at their previous place.
Yeah, when I say being a player-driven program, it's that, yeah, we as coaches, we take the lead and tell them, hey, this is what we want to see. This is what we want to get done, okay? And then it's not every day saying that. They start taking on a bigger role themselves. They start taking a role in team leadership and keeping the locker room clean and challenging one another as players, right? Pulling guys with you, right? Rather than sitting there saying, oh, well, anybody can find, any organization, anybody can find a problem, okay? How are you going to fix that problem, okay? It's my job as the head coach at the University of Montana to fix problems, but also it's players that find solutions in terms of how they bring other guys with them so that we can become the best team possible.
Drink a beer and support a Griz athlete. DraftWorks is a longtime favorite of beer enthusiasts across the Treasure State, and DraftWorks has created a sessionable, delicious lager that donates part of every sale to the name, image, and likeness efforts at the University of Montana. Up with Montana Lager is a crisp, effervescent beer that pours pale straw in color and greets you with an inviting malty aroma. And it's crafted with Griz athletes in mind. If you're headed to the tailgate or stocking up to watch football, give back to the NIL Collective at the University of Montana by drinking Up with Montana Lager, proudly created by DraftWorks Brewing.
Missoula, the best in college hoops, descends upon the press box Thursday, March 19th, with Blackfoot Communications hosting a watch party for America's favorite tournament. Big screens, big games, wall-to-wall basketball. Blackfoot Communications is your local provider of voice, internet, and managed services, proudly serving Missoula businesses every day. Join us at the press box on March 19th. To learn more about Blackfoot services, visit blackfoot.com.
Coach, we'll just start with your initial thoughts when you get up and get comfortable.
Thanks, guys. I'll take that since I already opened it. Is that all right?
The Griz water? All right.
Feel free to introduce Wes, since he's the only guy that gave a crap to come down here.
Coach Nurse, everybody. Well, so can I start with one, you guys are getting to know him. I mean, Coach Kennedy was born to be a head coach, am I right? Like, it's really exciting for me that he's getting his opportunity to do that as my friend and seeing that happen.
You get a raise out of that, I want you to know that.
Two, I want to say how thankful I am that I get to be a part of it, right? That he's giving me this opportunity to come be the coordinator at the University of Montana. It's a big deal. And I recognize that, and I'm thankful for that opportunity. Thankful for the opportunity to bring Jalen and Wes with me. A couple guys that I really, really trust. And I know how competent they are, how obsessive they are about grading the practice film on a Wednesday night in spring ball, how hard they're going to recruit, and how much they're going to love our players. So, to be able to hit the ground running with those guys, along with Coach McLeod and Coach Kennedy in our corner, I'm really excited about that and thankful. So, I thought I'd tell you guys the vision of our defense as I explained it to the players on our first day meeting. It's three things. First, this is bigger than football. Being a college football player is bigger than football. And we are not going to lose sight of trying to develop these guys as young men. And I feel strongly that if we make them better people, they will be better players. And that will help us win games. And I want to win. I want to win anything that we do. My son beat me in tic-tac-toe. My son's 6. He beat me in tic-tac-toe, and I was hot pissed. I don't want to lose, period. But I want to win at life, not just football. And so we're going to focus on developing these kids as young men, and we're going to focus on connecting with them and getting them to connect with each other. So that's one. Two, we want to be the strength of the program, which, knowing Coach Pease and his offense, that's a bold statement. I mean, I'm so excited for the opportunity to compete with those guys every day in practice and to learn and grow from what they do and how they challenge us. Going against that offense the last couple of years, man, he's a great coach, and I'm excited to work with him and have him on my side. And then 3, if we help these kids grow as people and we're the strength of the program, we're going to help this team win championships. And that's the goal. We're not afraid of it. None of the players are afraid of it. We're not going to hide from that. We want to win the big ones. So that's the vision. And I think the immediate question that comes from that is, that sounds great, Coach. How are you going to do that, right? So the how, I think, focuses on your habits, right? What are the behavioral habits that we're going to help these kids grow? And we build our habits, and then our habits build us. That's life. And so I got 2 big ones as it relates to being a defensive football player that we are just going to constantly focus on, constantly preach, and that's going to bleed into everything we do. 1, we're going to run like hell. We're going to sprint to the football. It's the number 1 way you show your teammates that you love them, okay? Running from drill to drill, chasing the guy with the ball, subbing on and off the field. We're going to run. That's just what we're going to do. Our defensive tackles are going to get in great cardiovascular shape. 2, we're going to attack the ball when we get there. Okay, so if you sprint to the ball and you attack it when you get there, Man, the ball finds energy, and good things are going to happen for our defense. And the number one thing we can do to help the team win is take the ball away. And so, can we take advantage of opportunities when they come our way? Absolutely. They throw us the ball, we better catch it. But also, we need to be going for the ball when we get to the scene. And so we need to be attacking the football every opportunity we get. You want to see our players bloodthirsty for the ball. And so you will see that. You watch practice film, game film, scrimmage film. If the ball's on the ground, our kids should be fighting over it. Because it's about the ball. It's how we're going to win on defense. So those are the two, focusing on developing those habits is going to bleed into everything that we do. We're going to be high effort people. We're going to care about little things that don't pay off, and then all of a sudden you made a huge difference, right? 3 plays out of 75 just won you the game. So that's the how we're going to accomplish the what, the vision.
This field represents big moments, big challenges, and the need for a team you can trust.
At Holloway and Hulling, we understand what's at stake. We are your advocates in Missoula and Western Montana.
We provide clear, result-driven counsel for criminal defense and personal injury cases.
Our new downtown office is where we turn that strategy into action.
Holloway and Hulling, your advocates for justice and a proud Griz sponsor.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the road, pump it up, oh yeah.
Throughout your various stops between UC Davis, the NFL, Stanford, Eastern Washington, what have you taken from those to sort of form your own defensive philosophy and the way that you sort of think about defense?
Yeah, you know what? I'd have to dig into a lot of detail there if I went stop by stop, but I'll talk about 2 extremes. My first boss that I worked for, the defensive coordinator at UC Davis, a man named Lou Bronson, I got 3 heroes in my life, and Lou's one of them. Lou's a special guy. But Lou's a real thorn in my side now because he taught me to be, in my estimation, world-class at finding problems. I can tell you how this defense is not going to work out. Oh, well, if they do this, that guy's open. If they do this, that guy's open. Well, he can't fit that gap. I'm good at that. And Lou taught me to be good at that. And I think that's important. I think you got bad coaches, good coaches, and great coaches. Bad coach doesn't know there's an issue. A good coach knows about the issue and tells the players, tries to solve it. A great coach knows about the issue and keeps his mouth shut so the kids play fast and confident, and they make it right. And that's what I learned from Greg Williams, who was on the other end of the spectrum. Greg also brilliant football mind. But Greg was not going to answer it with scheme. Greg, how are we going to get the defensive end to knock that tight end 3 yards backwards, and now none of those gaps matter? We're going to solve it with effort and violence. And so I think being able to balance those 2 things has really been pivotal to my coaching philosophy.
Montana's had such great defensive legacy for years and years and years. So how do you go about upholding that, and how important is that to you to uphold that?
Yeah, tons of respect for Coach Houck and what they've done on defense here. I think we started by tipping our cap to those guys. We're going to keep a Griz position in our defense, and he might have a little bit more coverage emphasis, and he was more of a tackler in the past, something like that. That's just difference of emphasis in terms of defense, but. Man, I mean, we literally have a front that we played at Eastern Washington called Grizzly. It was named after Montana. I mean, because we saw what they were doing and recognized the excellence. So, but I think ultimately, we're going to talk today in our unit meeting about how we take the field to start a drive. And the way I described that to those young men is we get together, get 11 guys in the huddle, and we break the huddle, and we take the field like you play at Montana. Right? There's a pride there. There's a way we do things here. It's the Montana way. And you want to play Team XYZ, you want to play in the week after you play Montana. Because Montana's going to bang them up. We're going to hit them hard. They're going to know they've been tackled. And that's not me. That's Montana. That was here before I got here. And so I'm going to continue to preach it because I saw it. I saw it when we played Idaho after Montana last year. It happened multiple times. Man, those guys hit hard. That's what we're going to do.
What's the biggest challenge of just having a sort of a scheme overhaul, and how do you hope to maximize that both spring and then into fall camp next fall as well?
Yeah, I mean, everything that we say is new to these kids, right? It's just a different language. Even if it's something that they did in the past, it's new words, it's new coaching points, it's new emphases. And so, like, we realize that as coaches, oh yeah, we'll put in those 3 blitzes with that coverage. Maybe we ought to just put in that 1 blitz for now. And let's make sure we get that right, because what we're not going to sacrifice is run like hell and attack the football, right? The way we play defense is far more important than the X's and O's. And so, as we get started here, the first 2 days of spring ball, we have in 1 coverage. But what we're focused on is effort, angles, attacking the ball when we get there, practicing together. And so, yeah, the patience is the biggest challenge, right? That, yeah, me, Wes, and Jalen, yeah, we know all this stuff. But Solo's been coaching or playing football almost as long as I've been coaching it. But he doesn't know my words. And so we got to get on the same page. And patience there.
What interested you the most about this job, and why was it the right time to make the move here?
Yeah, well, so I've told this story before. I mean, I came here as a defensive coach at UC Davis in 2000, I think it was 8, and the crowd completely took the game over. I mean, we were close in the 4th quarter and then couldn't execute a snap from center because the crowd took the game over. And it's clear the support that this community gives to the football program. And I've only learned more and more about that support as I've been a part of this program and talked to Coach Kennedy about it and get exposed to QB Club. I mean, it's been amazing. And so just knowing how serious people are about football here, like, this is one of the excellent programs in FCS football. It's hard to say no to that opportunity.
Is a will you marry me in your future? Or maybe you do it all over again. Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life, because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula, on Brooks, across from the Montana Club.
Hello, my name is Kelly Ayat, quarterback at the University of Montana. In the off-season, it's important to do everything you can to prepare for the season. In high school, that means funding your program. In my experience, Vertical Raise is the ultimate online fundraiser platform. Now broaden your reach of your fundraiser and bring in more money than other platforms. And there are no sneaky or hidden fees like other companies. If you're trying to raise money for your program, reach out to Vertical Raise today.
And then at Eastern, that was your first time being a defensive coordinator.
Sort of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can expand on that, but
Sure.
just what did you learn from the past 2 years coordinating the defense there?
So the background detail there was I got hired as the defensive coordinator in 2016 at Southern Utah. And then I got hired as the defensive coordinator at Eastern. Then I got hired again as the defensive coordinator at Eastern. The third time I got hired as a defensive coordinator, I actually got to do the job for various details there. But doing the job is the best way to get better at the job, for sure, right? You grow in whatever you're doing. And I try to be very detailed in how I take notes and pay attention to the people around me and learn from them, because I always want to continue to grow. But being a defensive coordinator in the Big Sky, learning the nuances of Big Sky football, it's different than the NFL, right? Spent a decade coaching in the NFL and then went to Stanford. We ran a pro-style offense and defense and strategized about the game in a very pro style. So you get to the Big Sky, it's 3rd and 7, and they're running quarterback pin and pull instead of passing the ball like everyone does. So, these guys are going to have a different strategy because they're going to go for it on 4th down. And having to adjust to that and learn the rhythms of the game that are different, I think that's a real advantage, having grown in that regard for 2 years.
And then when you're building out this defense in the recruiting aspect, what are some of the specifics you're looking for in guys you're recruiting?
Yeah. Well, first off, we sat down at the very beginning of our time here and kind of provided an outline to the whole coaching staff, because, they're going out to their areas, of all the different, I call them position buckets. And so, okay, you find a kid that has this height, weight, speed, that's what he is. And then we decide, is that kid good enough for our program in terms of that role? And most kids will fit more than one role, but generally they're going to be in this area. And so trying to give them guidance that way so that we can all attack the recruiting process in an organized fashion. But broadly, I think what Coach Kennedy said is absolutely true. Guys who love football, guys who are tough. We had 122 snaps of team football yesterday in spring practice number 2 in jerseys without pads. I mean, if you don't love football, you're going to tap out. That's what we're going to do here is we're going to work hard. That's how we're going to leverage our ability to improve more every day than the teams we're going against. So, yeah, guys that love football, guys that are competitive, guys that are tough. And then I want guys that want to learn, want to continue to grow, might be interested in something outside of football. I'm going to coach you hard, and hopefully we can connect enough if you're open to that. That's becoming more and more possible with today's youth that, yeah, they want to be loved. We're going to talk about our feelings, and that's okay. I'm going to go out on the field and yell at them to run to the ball, but they know that I care about them, right? So being open to that emotional connection is important. So that's broadly. Do you need me to speak more depth, position-based?
You can speak to linebackers since that's your group, what you look for.
Yeah.
Specifically in linebackers.
Yeah, well, specifically, it's not a height weight thing at linebacker. The best linebackers are just bad SOBs, right? The guys that are just going to kick ass and get to the ball, period. Peyton Wing looks very different than Solo. They're both good linebackers, right? Because of their attitude and effort. But yeah, in general, I like the tall, skinny ones. You're going to find me recruiting high school wide receivers. If they're tough and they want to lead, I'll teach them to play linebacker. Because I think college football today is a space game. They have to be athletic. I can teach them to stand in the B gap and see a guard pull. What I can't do is coach wingspan and speed and ability to adjust somebody in space. And so recruiting athleticism at the linebacker position is incredibly important.
And then just your early evaluation of the level of talent and depth of talent on the defense, and then just any position groups in specific you're really looking forward to see battles play out this spring.
Yeah, well, in general, I'm very excited about what we have here. The length on the defensive front is really exciting. We have, I met one kid after another, 6'4", 250. Like, geez Louise, we just have all of them. Everyone who's 6'4", 250 in Montana plays here. Wow. So that's great, because I do like length on the front also. But I'm also excited about how many guys we have in the safety position that are going to run and hit. We seem like we have a ton of guys there too. Really excited about the coverage ability of the corners as a position group. And then the linebackers, I think, man, they did a great job recruiting that room and bringing in some transfers who are game ready. We got a lot of guys who are game day players in the Big Sky already. So, I'd say really favorable reviews about the general level of talent. We're not far enough that I would say, I was adamant with the position coaches to start spring. We do not have a first string, second string, third string. No one is allowed to say, give me the ones, and a group of kids run out there. That's not a thing that exists. And the linebackers will not hear the entire spring, give me the ones. I'm going to yell out 3 guys' names, and those 3 kids will run out. Because we're still learning about them. They're still learning about us. We have to install a defense. It's all still in the evaluation stage.
Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.
On that note, just having sort of a fresh opportunity for so many guys, how do you hope they sort of embrace it since everybody sort of is new to you and to the defense in general?
Yeah, I think, one, man, the culture here is such that these kids want to embrace the coaching. I got up there the first day to talk, and it was just a bunch of kids sitting forward, nodding their heads, eye contact. It was great body language. They were ready to be coached. And they said, hey, he's in charge. Yes, sir. What are we doing? And so, and I think we all know we don't need to have the perfect answer. We need to all be on the same page, doing the same answer, full speed. And so our kids are going to do that. That's what I'd say.
Stepping into a program that had so much success, throughout all the years, but especially last year being a national semifinalist, how do you sort of maintain that standard and just how do you think about just the stuff that's been done at Montana previously?
Yeah, again, embracing it, not being afraid of it, talking about it, and embracing the competition with our rivals, embracing the competition with our own offense. We were a 13-win team, and we got a great quarterback coming back, a great running back coming back. Those are great players. Let's go compete with those kids and get better from that. Iron sharpens iron. And so, talent, if it works hard, is going to allow us to bring the entire tide up.
I know you've coached in Missoula before on the opposite sideline, so what are some of your impressions of that? And I mean, this town and this community, they love defense. So how much do you hope to cater the crowd to being sort of the 12th guy for your squad?
Man, I'll tell you what, not only do they seem like they love defense, they also seem like they love doing their part. So they have football IQ, and they're not going to cheer at the wrong times. It's 3rd and long, time to get a pass rush. They're going to speak up at the right times. That's really been notable on the other side. And that, like I said, UC Davis and at Eastern, they make it hard to get the snap from center. The crowd does that. And then, just embracing their enthusiasm and not running from that. I coached in Cleveland, Ohio. We went from being 1-31 to almost in the playoffs, and the entire town was buzzing about it. And so being somewhere where football's important, like my family's from Ohio, football's important. My grandfather looks like Woody Hayes, like down to the gap in his teeth. So I love that. Love it. Not afraid of it at all.
Just to clarify, we've talked a little bit about a 4-man front and a 3-man front. In this state for the last, 5 or 6 years, it's been a 3-man front at Montana, and over across the hill in Montana State, it's a 4-man front. But it's a 4-2-5. It's a little different. So can you clarify what your base is? Is it a 4-3 that you really lean on as you roll out there with the ones?
Yeah. So first off, I've watched not every clip, but a lot of the film from Montana last year. And I think what's really important to wrap our minds around, Montana didn't just line up in a 3-down front last year. There are several clips where there's 4 kids on the line of scrimmage, and there are several clips where there's 5 kids on the line of scrimmage. So, do they have, is it listed as end, nose, end? Sure. But are they playing 3 down every play? No, absolutely not. They played 3 down, 4 down, 5 down. And we will do the same. And so we'll list more than 11 starters. We're going to have a bunch of kids. We're going to play a bunch of packages. The hope is that you have more than 11 kids that are game day ready, because we're going to play a long season, and we have to be able to weather the ups and downs health-wise that way. So what we've installed in the first 2 days, you would call our base, and it's been both 4 down and 3 down. And that's what we have in the cupboard, so that's what we're going to cook dinner with, I think maybe the percentages will be more 4 down. And I do feel strongly, I think this is an important detail, you win games late in the season with your big people. And so we're going to collect more big people. So does that mean 4 down? Or if Coach Johnson had his way, it would mean 5 down. Let's get 3 300-pounders out there, and they're not moving anybody, But we are going to be, as a base, flexible. And so what you see us line up in week 2 and then what we line up in week 4 is not going to be the same. And like Coach Kennedy said, number one, our kids are going to play hard and play fast, but we are going to be very annoying to prepare for offensively.